right, language review week 3, Monday number 1. This is technically a dangling modifier because remember, first thing we want to do with misplaced or dangling modifiers is identify the phrase, the modifying phrase. In this case, it's forgetting that the microphone was on is our modifying phrase. What does that phrase, forgetting that the microphone was on, relate to? What does it connect to? Well, yes, the mayor probably, or the assistant possibly, but this is actually a possessive, the mayor's fight. So the mayor's fight is not the one that forgot, it was actually the mayor. So technically, the subject is not in the sentence, at least in a way that this modifier connects to. So we have to rewrite it like this. By the way, if you put misplaced modifier, I'm okay with that. It's not technically correct, but it shows you understand the basic concept because you were, in that case, if you chose misplaced modifier, you were thinking that this modifying phrase here, modified crowd, and it was misplaced. It's in the wrong place. This crowd's right in the middle, and what it really would have modified is mayor. But again, pay attention, that's mayor's fight, and the mayor's fight can't forget. So what we really want to ideally have is some sentence like this in the end. Because he forgot the microphone was on, comma, it's a comma there. The crowd heard the mayor's fight with his assistant. Any type of sentence that's similar to this works. Notice here I'm actually inserting the subject. Remember, when you rewrite these, you change verb forms. Yes, it's a participial phrase here, and here it's a past tense form of the same verb, forgot. So because he forgot the microphone was on, comma, the crowd heard the mayor's fight with his assistant. Anything along those lines is fine. Number 2, connotation, diplomatic, positive to neutral, strategic, positive to neutral, sometimes can be considered negative depending on context, cunning, always negative. Number 3, even though we see means here, remember we're not looking in the dictionary for this word. We are using the context of the passage to figure out what it means. What's the word? Listless. So if you look through this, you're already seeing that the guides on the expectation were not listless. So it's saying that this subject, the guides on the expedition, were not listless. And then it gives the campers as a contrast. This word here, while, is a contrast word. It could be used, for example, if you were talking about while January was very cold, February has been warm so far. Or you could say something like, while it was raining on Monday, Tuesday was bright and sunny. So while is a contrast word. So it's saying while the campers remain quiet on their cots, the men, meaning the guides on the exposition, set up camp, check the equipment, prepared the tasty meal, and discuss the next phase of travel with interest. That means they were kind of engaged, they were active, and they were engaged in what they were doing. So they had an interest, they were doing all these things, preparing, discussing, checking, setting up things. So these are all things they were not. These are things the campers were listless. The guides were not listless. So what is listless? Listless would seem to imply that lazy or inactive, or almost idle. Idle, not doing anything. Number 4, synonym for chronic. Chronic means long-standing or has been around from the beginning, so that would be constant. Unknowable, we have unknown and able. Not able to know, unknowable. Kind of got printed out, kind of funny there. Tuesday, number 1, eliminate wordiness and redundancy. For this one, my grandfather said he is not alone in his opinion, since other people also think that children today are spoiled. For this one, we're going to need to keep my grandfather and the idea that children today are spoiled and something related to what people think. So you could say, but we don't need that said he's not alone in his opinion since other people. We can just say, my grandfather thinks that children today are spoiled, a view held by others. or something like that. Number 2, misspelled word is committee. 2 T's, 2 E's, and 2 M's. Number 3, figure of speech, alarm clock screams out. As you know, that's personification. Screams out means it's annoying. It's just like a person screaming. It's jarring, unsettling. Number 4, phrase or clause. Sorry, excuse me. Got a frog in my throat, which, by the way, is an idiom. Frog in my throat. But don't confuse that with the answer. This is actually the correct answer for this one. Number 5, phrase or clause. Rule for phrase or clause. Does it have a subject and a verb? Yes, it has a subject. Yes, it has a verb. Check. Does it express a complete thought? Yes, it does. That means it is not only a clause, but it's an independent clause. Clause means it has a subject and a verb, so that means it's a clause. And the fact that it can stand alone means it's an independent clause. So I didn't laugh is an independent clause. Wednesday 1, bellicose, bell meaning war, os meaning full of, bellicose meaning warlike. Sorry, that was really bad. Warlike. Dictionary definition, just look it up and Google it, ChatGPT or a regular dictionary. You probably won't be using regular printed dictionaries a lot in your life, so feel free to just Google that or use your online resource on that. Find 5 words that have the same root or affix. You can easily just do that each week using AI dictionary. Don't spend a lot of time just trying to rack your brain, trying to figure that out. Look it up, learn what those words are, and then you will be good to go. Wednesday, number 3, what can be versatile? Well, a tool can be versatile. An athlete can be versatile. Versatile means being able to do many things or having many skills. A report card is just a reflection on what you have done in a class. It's just a measure. So that's not something that can be versatile. And a historical event is just a one-time occurrence of something that happened. That, by definition, cannot be versatile. Number 4, add commas where needed in the below sentence. This is a sentence that lists a series of items, so we want to put a comma between each item. You need to pack the bathing suits, comma, sunscreen, comma, and towels, reminded my mother. Now, because this is a quote, we have the quotation marks here, we also want to put the comma just inside that quotation mark to offset the quote and indicate it was the mom that said it. Number 5, antonym, opposite of diverse. Diverse would mean different or varied. So this is a synonym, so it's not that. Enraged has nothing to do with it. Unique means one of a kind, which is kind of similar. That's close, but not quite. The best answer here is going to be similar. Diverse means many different types. And the antonym of diverse is going to be, or the antonym for diverse is going to be similar. They're all the same. Diverse means different. Similar means similar. Thursday, number 1, not wanting to offend my 2 quarreling friends. Quarreling means arguing, comma. I remained blank and listened to both of their complaints. We're going to come back up to number 2 and find out which word is a positive connotation that shows, by the way, that's negative. A positive connotation word that shows that you kind of remain neutral. How about diplomatic? You weren't being cunning. That's negative. You didn't want to offend them, so you didn't want to be cunning. You didn't also want to be strategic. That sounds kind of manipulative. Let's be diplomatic about it. Number 2, identify the 2 adjectives in the text below. Are they coordinate or non-coordinate? Remember, the test for this is if you can put a comma between them and then switch them. In other words, they could go. You could go in either direction. Like it could be the tall glass or the glass tall, or if you could use and, the tall and glass skyscraper. It fails both of those measures. We can't use a comma here and flip them. You can't say glass, tall, and you can't say tall and glass. So that means these two adjectives, yes, are non-coordinate. They don't coordinate. They can't be used interchangeably. Tall actually modifies glass skyscraper. So you can't put a comma there and you can't put an and, so it's non-coordinate. All right, circle the definition that matches the word used in the sentence below. Shroud, 1, a noun, something that covers or hides from view. 2, noun, cloth used to wrap a dead body before a funeral. And 3, verb, to block from sight. Our ship was shrouded in a fine, cool mist as we approached the harbor. Again, one thing you can do is look at definition, also look at parts of speech. Shrouded is a verb, so we automatically know that that is a verb. You can also make sense of it, that it was shrouded by mist. Not a dead body, not a cloth. It could be number 1, but because it's being used as a verb here, that doesn't work. You could have said the mist that was in the air was a shroud in front of our boat, our ship, and that would have been an example of number 1 if you use it as a noun. In this case, being used as a verb. Number 4, identify the following sentences: simple, compound, complex, or compound, complex. He left the party early even though he left the party early even though he was having so much fun. This is a complex sentence because it's got that subordinating conjunction in the middle that connects these two thoughts. Subordinating conjunction, even though he was having so much fun, cannot stand alone. It's dependent on he left the party early. So we have a complex sentence. You can flip it around and say it the other way. Even though he was having so much fun, comma, he left the party early. Remember, again, this is a way these subordinating conjunctions, just like fanboys, show relationships between ideas. So he left the party early. We're going to give more context about that. We're going to give more information. We're going to throw a phrase in that gives a little bit more description. And that phrase is, even though he was having, or clause, I should say, even though he was having so much fun. But it can't stand alone. It's dependent. That means you have a complex sentence. Number 5, choose a matching analogy. A limerick is a type of poem. A dance is a type of salsa. No, salsa is a type of dance. Gold is a type of metal. Well, it looks like we got a winner there. An employee is a type of manager. No, a manager is a type of employee. A genre is a type of book. It's the opposite. A book is a type of genre. It is B. Hopefully you guys did great and you're feeling great about language review through the first 3 weeks. This is the last one that's not graded. Going into week 4, we'll start grading them and proceeding accordingly with you having your grade be a reflection of how well you're doing on this. If you have any questions, keep watching the videos. Take a look at the user resource, language review resource guide for this, or just simply drop me a line or drop in during drop-in session.